start recording. I am recording again. Alright. So, we are now on part 3. Part 3. Which I think you may know the most about, maybe, sort of. Like, only, like, maybe the first part of part 3 that you know about. Hold on. Fucking when does part 3 end? Jesus. 55. So 55. So let me just try and find 55 right now. Okay. I don't think it's as bad. No, actually it is probably as bad as yesterday's. In terms of length. But that's okay. So, okay, I'll just read now the part 3. So part 3 is Deliverance from Egypt to Israel's first king. Moses led the Israelites from captivity in Egypt to Mount Sinai, where God gave them his laws. Later, Moses sent 12 men to spy out the land of Canaan, but 10 of them returned with a bad report. They caused the people to want to go back to Egypt. For their lack of faith, God punished the Israelites by having them wander for 40 years in the wilderness. Yeah, that sounds like something, a Heavenly Father would do. Finally, Joshua was chosen to lead the Israelites into the land of Canaan. To help them take the land, Jehovah caused miracles to happen. He made the Jordan River stop flowing, the walls of Jericho to fall down, and the sun to stand still for a whole day. After 6 years, the land was taken from the Canaanites. Oh no, they don't say it in like the brief description, but we're gonna get there. There's a chapter on that. The gold calf. I don't think that's until later, or it might be. Oh no, yeah, it's like the third chapter of this part. So yeah, we're gonna get to that. Yeah, he made the Jordan River stop flowing, the walls of Jericho to fall down, and the sun to stand still for a whole day. After 6 years, the land was taken from the Canaanites. No, yeah, you don't worry. You're not gonna get the. Everything will be explained in this book. All canonically. Canonically? No, chronologically. Beginning with Joshua, Israel was ruled for 356 years by judges. We learn about many of them, including Barak, Gideon. Sorry, I just got distracted. Gideon, Jephthah, Samson, and Samuel. We also read about such women as Rahab, Deborah, Jael, Ruth, Naomi, and Delilah. In all, part 3 covers 396 years of history. So now we go to chapter 34. A new kind of food. Can you tell what the people are picking? Can you tell what the people are picking off the ground? It is like frost. It is white and it is thin and flaky, but it is not but it's not frost. It's something to eat. It has only been about a month since the Israelites left Egypt. They are in the wilderness. Little food grows here, and so the people complain, saying, "We wish that Jehovah had killed us in Egypt. At least there we had all the food that we wanted." So Jehovah says, "I'm going to cause food to rain down from the sky." And this is what Jehovah does. The next morning, when the Israelites see this white stuff that has fallen, they ask one another, "What is it?" um, Moses says, "This is the food that Jehovah has given to you." The people call it manna. Is it manna? Or manna? Oh, manna? Oh, okay, cool. Like the magic kind of manna. Okay, cool. That's what I thought. Jesus was Jesus and Jehovah were playing games, video games, uh, and he thought, "Hey, this would be a cool name to give to food, manna." Okay. The people call it manna. It tastes like thin cakes made with honey. Man, that sounds good. Hella gamer. Yep. Hella. Why do I keep on doing that? Okay. It tastes like thin cakes made with honey. You are to pick up as much as each person can eat, Moses tells the people. So each morning, this is what they do. When the sun gets hot, the manna left on the ground melts. Moses also says, no one is to save any of the manna over the next day. But some of the people don't listen. Do you know what happens? The next morning, the manna that they had saved is full of worms and it begins to stink. There is one day of the week, however, that Jehovah tells people to gather twice as much manna. This is the sixth day. And Jehovah says to save some of it over the next day, because he will not cause any to fall on the seventh day. When they save the manna over the seventh day, it does not get full of worms, and it doesn't stink. This is another miracle. Not really. They just I feel like this book just says, "Oh, this is a miracle, and this is a miracle, and this is a miracle," which it's I wouldn't consider this a miracle. Yeah, maybe the food, but not like the whole. I don't know. It's just weird. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. Um, all the years the Israelites are in the wilderness, Jehovah feeds them with manna. Alright, chapter 35. Jehovah gives his laws. About 2 months after they left uh, not Israel, about 2 months after they left Egypt, the Israelites come to Mount Sinai, which is called Horeb. This is the same place where Jehovah spoke to Moses from the burning bush. The people camp here and stay a while. As the people await below, Moses climbs the mountain. Up there on top of the mountain, Jehovah tells Moses that he wants the Israelites to obey him and to become his special people. When Moses comes down, he tells the Israelites what Jehovah has said, and the people will say that they will obey Jehovah because they want to be his people. Jehovah now does a strange thing. He makes the top of the mountain smoke and cause loud thunder. He also speaks to the people. I am Jehovah, your God, who brought you out of Egypt. Then he commands, You must not worship any other gods except me. God gives the Israelites 9 more commandments or laws. The people are very afraid. They tell Moses, "You speak to us because they are you speak to us because we are afraid that if God speaks to us, we may die." Uh, Later, yeah, I was rereading that. If you want me to reread that, it didn't make sense to me, but now it does. But it says again, God gives the Israelites 9 more commandments or laws. The people are very afraid. They tell Moses, "You speak to us because we are afraid that if God speaks to us, we may die." Later, Jehovah tells Moses, "Come up to me in the mountain. I will give you 2 flat stones on which I have written the laws that I want the people to keep." So Moses again goes up into the mountain. For 40 days and nights he stays there. God has many, many laws for his people. Moses writes these laws down. God also gives Moses 2 flat stones. On these, God himself has written the 10 laws that he spoke to all the people. They are called the 10 Commandments. The 10 Commandments are important laws, but so are the many other laws that God gives the Israelites. One of these laws is, you must love Jehovah your God with your whole heart, your whole mind, your whole soul, and your whole strength. And another is, you must love your neighbor as yourself. God's Son, Jesus Christ, said that these are the 2 greatest laws that Jehovah gave to his people Israel. We will learn later many things about God's Son and his teachings. Alright. Chapter 36. Now we're on to the golden calf. Yeah, chapter 36. The golden calf. Oh, what are the people doing now? They are praying to a calf. Why are they doing this? When Moses stays up on the mountain for a long time, the people say, "We do not know what has happened to Moses, so let's make a god to lead us out of this land." "All right," Moses' brother Aaron says, "take off your gold earrings and bring them to me." When the people do so, Aaron melts them down and makes a golden calf. And the people say, "This is our God, who led us out of Egypt." Then the Israelites have a big party and worship the golden calf. When Jehovah sees this, he is very angry. So he says to Moses, "Hurry and go down. The people are acting very badly." Damn it, Aaron. I know, right? Wait. I think I said Moses. Yeah. When Jehovah sees this, he is very angry. So he says to Moses, "Hurry and go down. The people are acting very badly. They have forgotten my laws and are bowing down to a golden calf." Moses hurries down the mountain, and when he gets close, this is what he sees. The people are singing and dancing around the golden calf. Moses is so angry that he throws down the 2 flat stones with the laws on them, and they break into many pieces. He then takes the golden calf and melts it down. Then he grinds it into powder. The people have done a very bad thing, so Moses tells some of the men to take their swords. The bad people who worship the golden calf must die. Yeah, the people have done a very bad thing, so Moses tells some of the men to take their swords. The bad people have worshipped the golden calf. The bad people who worship the golden calf must die, Moses said. And so then the men strike dead 3,000 people. Doesn't this show that we need to be careful to worship only Jehovah and not any false gods? No, it just sounds like this God is fucked up and we shouldn't listen to him because fucking they're crazy. This is like total indoctrination. I feel bad for people that had to, were forced to read this. Yeah. Okay. So, chapter 37. A tent for worship. Do you know what that building is? It is a special tent for worshiping Jehovah. It is called the tabernacle. It is also called the tabernacle. The people finished building it 1 year after they left Egypt. Do you know whose idea it was to build it? It was Jehovah's idea. When Moses was up on Mount Sinai, Jehovah told him how to build it. He said to make it so that it could easily be taken apart. This way, the parts could be carried to another place and there be put together again. So when the Israelites moved from place to place in the wilderness, they carried the tent with them. If you look inside the small room at the end of the tent, you can see a box or chest. This is called the Ark of the Covenant. It has 2 angels or cherubs made of gold, one on each end. God again wrote the 10 Commandments on 2 flat stones. God again wrote the 10 Commandments on 2 flat stones because Moses had broken the first ones, and these stones were kept inside the Ark of the Covenant. Also, a jar of manna was kept inside it. Do you remember what manna is? Moses' brother Aaron is the one that Jehovah chooses to be the high priest. Yeah, of course. Even when fucking Aaron last chapter was just like, oh no, let's you're right, we should obey another god, and now he's the high priest again? What the heck? I think too that Moses and God have bad judgment on who should be what. It's like, I mean, if I were God, I wouldn't make Aaron the high priest. I wouldn't. Because last chapter he was just like, oh yeah, I don't know what happened to Moses. We might as well just worship another god, blah 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 blah. Fuck everything else that happened. That is true. He is the chosen one's brother, so I guess, in a way, you're right. Anyway. This is called the Ark of the Covenant. It had 2 angels or cherubs made of gold, one on each end. God again wrote the 10 Commandments on 2 flat stones, because Moses had broken the first ones, and these stones were kept inside the Ark of the Covenant. Also, a jar of manna was kept inside it. Do you remember what manna is? Moses' brother Aaron is the one that Jehovah chooses to be the high priest. He leads the people in worshiping Jehovah, and his sons are priests too. Now, look at the bigger room of the tent. It is twice as big as the small room. Do you see the box or little chest with some smoke going up from it? That is the altar. That is the altar where the priests burn some sweet-smelling stuff called incense. Then there is a lampstand that has 7 lamps. And the third thing in the room is a table. On it there are 12 loaves of bread. I know. Yeah, it has the Hanukkah on it. Like the. Yeah, it just. Yeah, obviously the lamp thing. The lampstand is the, I guess the Hanukkah. Yep. Hold on, I'm just adjusting myself. I hope that wasn't too noisy for people. Okay. I just needed to adjust my blankets. Okay. Yeah. And the third thing is in the room is a table. On it are kept 12 loaves of bread. In the yard of the tabernacle is a big bowl or basin that is filled with water. The priests use it for washing. There is also a big altar. Here the dead animals are burned as an offering to Jehovah. The tent is right in the middle of the camp, and the Israelites live in their tents all around it. Alright. Chapter 38. The 12 Spies. Look at the fruit these men are carrying. See how big that bunch of grapes is? It takes 2 men to carry it on a pole. And see the figs and pomegranates? Where did this beautiful fruit come from? From the land of Canaan. Remember Canaan, where Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob once lived? But because of the famine there, Jacob and his family moved to Egypt. Now, about 216 years later, Moses is leading the Israelites back to Canaan. They have come to a place in the wilderness called Kadesh. Bad people live in the land of Canaan. So Moses sends out 12 spies and tells them, find out how many people live there and how strong they are. Find out if the ground is good for growing things. And be sure to bring back some of the fruit. When the spies come back to Kadesh, they tell Moses, it is really a fine country. And to prove it, they show Moses some of the fruit. But 10 of the spies say, the people who live there are big and strong. We will be killed if we try to take the land. The Israelites are afraid when they hear this. It would have been better to die in Egypt, or even here in the wilderness, they say. We will be killed in battle, and our wives and children will be captured. Let's choose a new leader in place of Moses and go back to Egypt. But two of the spies trust Jehovah and try to calm the people. Their names are Joshua and Caleb. They say, don't be afraid. Jehovah is with us. It will be easy to take the land. But the people don't listen. They even want to kill Joshua and Caleb. This makes Jehovah very angry, and he tells Moses, none of the people from 20 years of age and over will go into the land of Canaan. They have seen the miracles that I did in Egypt and in the wilderness, but they still don't trust me. So they will wander in the wilderness for 40 years until the last person dies. Only Joshua and Caleb will go into the land of Canaan. That's harsh. That's like really harsh. Alright. Chapter 39. Alright. Chapter 39. Aaron's rod grows flowers. See the flowers and ripe almonds growing from this rod? Obey or die. Yeah, exactly. Hell would be more fun anyways. Yeah. See the flowers and ripe almonds growing on this rod or stick? This is the rod of Aaron. These flowers and the ripe fruit grew out of Aaron's rod just in one night. Let's see why. The Israelites had been wandering. The Israelites had been wandering in the wilderness for a while now. Some of the people don't think Moses should be the leader. Yeah. Some of the people don't think Moses should be the leader, or that Aaron should be the high priest. Korah, excuse me. Yeah, some of the people don't think Moses should be the leader, or that Aaron should be the high priest. Korah is the one who thinks this way, and so are Dathan, Abiram, and 250 leaders of the people. These all come and say to Moses, "Why is it that you put yourself above the rest of us?" Moses tells Korah and his followers, "Tomorrow morning, take fire holders and put incense on them. Then come to Jehovah's tabernacle. We will see whom Jehovah will choose." The next day, Korah and his 250 followers come to the tabernacle. Many others come along to support these men. Jehovah is very angry. "Get away from the tents of these bad men." Wait, hold on. Yeah, the next day, Korah and his 250 followers came to the tabernacle. Many others came along to support these men. Jehovah is very angry. "Get away from the tents of these bad men," Moses said. "Don't touch anything that belongs to them." The people listen and move away from the tents of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. And then Moses says, "By this you will know whom Jehovah has chosen. The ground will open and swallow up these bad people." As soon as Moses stops talking, the ground opens. Korah's tent and belongings, and Dathan and Abiram and those with them hold on. Sorry, I was like in mid burp and yawn. Okay. Yeah, as soon as Moses stops talking, the ground opens. Korah's tent and belongings, and Dathan and Abiram and Abiram, and those with them go down, and the ground closes over them. When the people hear the cries of those falling into the ground, they shout, "Run! The earth might swallow us too!" Korah and his 250 followers are still near the tabernacle. So Jehovah sends fire, and all of them are burned up. Then Jehovah tells Aaron. Then Jehovah. Then Jehovah tells Aaron's son Eleazar. Yeah, Eleazar. Eleazar to take the fire holders of the dead men, and to make a thin covering for an altar with them. This altar covering is to serve as a warning to the Israelites that no one besides Aaron and his sons should act as priests for Jehovah. But Jehovah wants to make it clear that it is Aaron and his sons whom he has chosen to be priests. So he tells Moses, "Have a leader of each tribe of Israel bring his rod. For the tribe of Levi, have Aaron bring his rod. Then put each of these rods in the tabernacle in front of the Ark of the Covenant. The rod of the man that I have chosen as priest will grow flowers." When Moses looks the next morning, why, Aaron's rod has these flowers, and ripe almonds are growing out of it. So do you see now why Jehovah caused Aaron's rod to grow flowers? Alright. Chapter 40. Chapter 40. Moses strikes the rock. Year after year passes. 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 39 years, and the Israelites are still in the wilderness. But all these years, Jehovah takes care of his people. He feeds them with manna. He leads them during the day with a pillar of cloud, and by night with a pillar of fire. And during all these years, their clothes didn't wear out, and their feet don't get sore. It is now the first month of the 40th year since leaving Egypt. The Israelites again camp at Kadesh. This is where they were when the 12 spies were sent to spy out the land of Canaan, nearly 40 years before. Damn. So after the 12 spies, the years and years just went past. Damn. Hold on. Okay. Yeah. It is now the first month of the 40th year since leaving Egypt. The Israelites again camp at Kadesh. This is where they were when the 12 spies were sent to spy out the land of Canaan nearly 40 years ago. 40 years before. Moses' sister Miriam dies at Kadesh, and as before, there is trouble here. The people can't find any water, so they complain to Moses. "It would have been better if you died. Why did you bring us out of Egypt into this terrible place where nothing will grow? There are no grain, no figs, no grapes, no pomegranates. There isn't even any water to drink." When Moses and Aaron go to the tabernacle to pray, Jehovah tells Moses, "Gather the people together. Then in front of them all, speak to that rock over there. Enough water will come out of it so the people and their animals, enough water will come out of it for the people and all their animals." So Moses gathers the people and says, "Listen, you who have no trust in God, do Aaron and I have to get water out of this rock for you?" Then Moses strikes the rock twice with a stick, and a great stream of water comes pouring out of the rock. There is enough water for all the people and animals to drink. But Jehovah is angry with Moses and Aaron. Do you know why? It is because Moses and Aaron said that they were going to bring water from the rock. But really, Jehovah did it. And because Moses and Aaron didn't tell the truth, Jehovah says that he is going to punish them. You will not lead my people into Canaan, he says. Soon, the Israelites leave Kadesh. After a short while, they come to Mount Hor. Here, up on the top of the mountain, Aaron dies. He is 123 years of age at the time of his death. The Israelites are very sad, and so for 30 days, all the people weep for Aaron. And so for 30 days, all the people weep for Aaron. His son Eleazar becomes the next high priest of the nation of Israel. Alright. Chapter 41. The Copper Serpent. Does that look like a real snake wrapped around the pole? It isn't. The snake is made of copper. Jehovah told Moses to put it up on the pole so that the people would look at it and keep alive. But the other snakes on the ground are real. They have bitten the people and made them sick. Do you know why? It is because the Israelites have spoken against God and Moses. They complain, "Why did you bring us out of Egypt to die in this wilderness? There is no food or water here, and we can't stand to eat this manna anymore." Well, then why don't they just kill their animals? It's as simple as that. Just kill your goddamn animals and eat them. Maybe all the people in the Bible were vegans or vegetarians. It doesn't make sense. You can just eat your goddamn animals. Unless they already did that and now they're starving. Oh, yeah, but I guess they had to keep on making sacrifices to God. But you know what? Their health is more important than God's health. Because, God is up there in the sky. He can fucking do his magic Sudiki whatever and then get him his sacrifice himself. But no, he's making the people do that. With their own, resources. God sucks. That is true. That is true. Yeah. There's no food or water here, and we cannot stand to eat this manna anymore. But the manna is good food. By a miracle, Jehovah has given it to them, and by a miracle, he has given them water too. But the people aren't thankful for the way God has taken care of them. So Jehovah sends these poisonous snakes to punish the Israelites. The snakes bite them, and many of them die. Finally, the people come to Moses and say, "We have sinned because we spoke against Jehovah and you. Now pray to Jehovah and take these snakes away." So Moses prays for the people, and Jehovah tells Moses to make this copper snake. He says to put it on the pole and that anyone who is bitten should look at it. And Moses does just what God says. And the people who were bitten look at the copper snake, and they get well again. There is a reason, there is a lesson to learn from this. All of us are, in a way, like those Israelites who were bitten by those snakes. We are all in a dying condition. Look around and you will see that people grow old, get sick, and die. This is because the first man and woman, Adam and Eve, turned away from Jehovah, and we are all their children. But Jehovah has made a way so we can live forever. Jehovah sent his son, Jesus Christ, to earth. Jesus was hung on a stake because many people thought he was bad, but Jehovah gave Jesus to save us. So we look to him. If we follow him, then we can have everlasting life. But we will learn more about this later. Alright. Chapter 42, A Donkey Talks. Have you ever heard a donkey talking? Only in Shrek. It's all Eve's fault because of Jesus. It's because of Jesus that we can one day maybe live well again. Yep. So yeah, chapter 42, A Donkey Talks. Have you ever heard a donkey talking? Like I said, only in Shrek. No, you may say. Animals can't talk, but the Bible tells about a donkey that did. Let's see how it happened. The Israelites are almost ready to go into the land of Canaan. Balak, the king of Moab, is afraid of the Israelites, so he sends for a smart man named Balaam, to come to curse the Israelites. Balak promises to give Balaam a lot of money, so Balaam gets on his donkey and starts on his way to see Balak. Jehovah does not want Balaam to curse his people, so he sends an angel with a long sword to stand in the road to stop Balaam. Balaam can't see the angel, but his donkey does. So the donkey keeps trying to turn away from the angel, and finally just lies down on the road. Balaam is very angry and beats his donkey with a stick. Then Jehovah causes Balaam to hear his donkey speak to him. "What have I done to you so that you should beat me?" asked the donkey. "You have made me look like a fool," Balaam says. "If I had a sword, I would kill you." "Have I ever treated you like this before?" the donkey asks. "No," Balaam answers. Then Jehovah lets Balaam see the angel with the sword standing on the road. The angel says, "Why have you beaten your donkey? I have come to block your way because you should not be going to curse Israel. If your donkey had not turned away from me, I would have struck you dead. But I would have not hurt your donkey." Balaam says, "I have sinned. I did not know that you were standing on the road." The angel lets Balaam go, and Balaam goes on to see Balak. He still tries to curse Israel, but instead Jehovah makes him bless Israel 3 times. Alright. So make sure you degrade a woman, the baby says so. Yep. Missed opportunity. Okay. Chapter 43. Almost done. We just need like 12 more chapters to go. I'm making pretty good time too. I say that and then an hour passes again, and I'll be like, no, please don't. Anyway. Chapter 43. Joshua becomes leader. Moses wants to go into Canaan with the Israelites. So he asks, "Let me cross the Jordan River, Jehovah, and see the good land." But Jehovah says, "That's enough. Don't mention this again." Do you know why Jehovah said that? It is because of what happened when Moses struck the rock. Remember, he and Aaron did not honor Jehovah. They didn't tell the people that it was Jehovah who was bringing water to the rock. For this reason, Jehovah said that he would not let them go into Canaan. So, a few months after Aaron dies, Jehovah tells Moses, "Take Joshua and stand him in front of Eleazar, Eleazar, I'm gonna look this up because I don't want to keep on trying to pronounce it. Let's see if my thing detects it. Eleazar. Nope, no, that's not what I want. Eleazar. Bible. Eleazar. Pronunciation. Eliezer. Alright, Eliezer. Okay. So a few months after Aaron dies, Jehovah tells Moses, "Take Joshua and stand him in front of Eleazar." Yeah, did I say that right? Fuck. I forgot. I totally forgot. Eleazar. Or Eleazar. Eliezer. Eliezer. Eleazar. Okay. I'm sorry, you guys. I need to stand him up next to the laser. Eleazar. And now you got me messed up, bro. Eleazar. Yeah, Eleazar. Yeah. And stand them in front of Eleazar, the priest, and the people. And there before them all, tell everybody that Joshua is the new leader. Moses does what Jehovah says, as you can see in the picture. When Jehovah tells Joshua, "Be strong and do not be afraid, you will lead the Israelites into the land of Canaan, and I have promised them, and I will be with you." Later, Jehovah tells Moses to climb up on top of Mount Nebo, in the land of Moab. From up there, Moses can look across the Jordan River and see the beautiful land of Canaan. Jehovah says, "This is a land that I promised to give to the children of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I have let you see it, but I will not let you go into it." There, on top of Mount Nebo, Moses dies. He was 120 years of age. He was still strong and his eyesight was still good. The people are very sad and cry because Moses is dead, but they are happy to have Joshua as the new leader. Alright. Now, I'm just gonna adjust myself, so I'm sorry if you hear this. Also, I'm gonna have some fucking oatmeal after this, because that sounds good. No. Hopefully Hopefully you don't have hiccups. Okay. Chapter 44. Rahab Rahab hides Rahab Rahab hides the spies. These men are in trouble. They must get away or they will be killed. They are Israelite spies, and the woman helping them is Rahab. Rahab lives here in a house on the wall of the city of Jericho. Let's find out why these men are in trouble. The Israelites are ready to cross the Jordan River into the land of Canaan. But before they go, Joshua sends out the two spies. He tells them, "Go take a look at the land and the city of Jericho." When the spies come into Jericho, they go to the house of Rahab. But somebody tells the king of Jericho, "Two Israelites came here tonight to spy out the land." When he hears this, the king sends men to Rahab and they command her, "The men that you have in your house, bring them out." But Rahab has hidden the spies on her roof. So she says, "Some men did come to my house. But I don't know where they were from. They left just as it was getting dark, before the city gate was closed. If you hurry, you can catch them." So the men go chasing after them. After they leave, Rahab hurries up to the roof. "I know that Jehovah will give you this land," she tells the spies. "We heard how he dried up the Red Sea when you were leaving Egypt, and how you killed the kings Sihon and Og. I have been kind to you, so promise me, please, that you will be kind to me. Save my father and mother and my brothers and sisters." The spies promise that they will, but Rahab must do something. "Take this red cord and tie it around your window," the spies say, "and gather all your relatives into your house with you. And when we all return to take Jericho, we will see this cord in your window, and will not kill anyone in your house." When the spies go back to Joshua, they tell him everything that happened. Alright, chapter 45. Look, the Israelites are crossing the Jordan River. But where is the water? Because lots of rain falls at that time of year, the river was very full just a few moments before. But now the water is all gone, and the Israelites are going to cross on dry land, just as they did at the Red Sea. Where did all the water go? Let's see. When the time came for the Israelites to cross the Jordan River, this is what Jehovah and Joshua tell the people. "The priests should take the Ark of the Covenant and go ahead of us. When they put their feet into the waters of the Jordan River, the waters will stop running." So the priests pick up the Ark of the Covenant and carry it ahead of the people. When they come to the Jordan, the priests step right into the water. It is running very strong and deep. But as soon as their feet touch the water begins to stop running. It is a miracle. Upstream, Jehovah has dammed up the water. So soon there will be no water in the river. The priests who are carrying the Ark of the Covenant go right out into the middle of the dried river. Can you see them in the picture? They also land, the priests who are carrying the Ark of the Covenant go right out into the middle of the dry river. Can you see them in the picture? As they stand there, all the Israelites walk right across the river, As they stand there, all the Israelites walk right across the Jordan River on dry land. When everyone has gone across, Jehovah has Joshua tell 12 strong men, "Go into the river where the priests are standing with the Ark of the Covenant. Pick up 12 stones and stack them pick up 12 stones and stack them where you all stay tonight. Then, in the future, when your children ask what those stones mean, you should tell them that the water stopped running when Jehovah's Ark of the Covenant crossed the Jordan. Hold on. I'm not getting it. When everyone has gone across, has Joshua tell 12 strong men, go into the river where the priests are standing with the Ark of the Covenant. Pick up 12 stones and stack them where you all stay tonight. Then, in the future, when your children ask what these stones mean, you should tell them that the water stopped running when Jehovah's Ark of the Covenant crossed the Jordan. The stones will remind you of this miracle. Joshua also sets up 12 stones where the priests stood in the riverbed. At last, Joshua tells the priests carrying the Ark of the Covenant, go up out of Jordan. And as soon as they do, the river begins running once more. Alright, chapter 46. Yeah, chapter 46. Almost there. Yeah, what's the last story we left? Oh, not Samson. Alright, chapter 46. The walls of Jericho. What's making these walls of Jericho fall? It looks as if a big bomb has hit them. But in those days, they didn't have bombs. They didn't even have guns. It is another miracle of Jehovah. Let's learn how it happened. Listen to what Jehovah tells Joshua. You and your fighting men are to march around the city. March around it once each day for 6 days. Carry the Ark of the Covenant with you. 7 priests should walk ahead of it and blow their horns. On the 7th day, you should march around the city 7 times. Then give a long sound on the horns and have everyone shout with a great war cry, and the walls will fall down flat. Joshua and the people do what Jehovah says. While they march, everyone is silent. No one speaks a word. All that can be heard is the sound of horns and the marching feet. The enemies of God's people in Jericho must have been afraid. Can you see that red cord hanging from the window? Whose window is that? Yes. Harab has done what the 2 spies told her to do. All her family are inside watching with her. Finally, on the seventh day, after marching around the city 7 times, the horns sound, and the fighting men shout, and the walls fall. Then Joshua says, kill everyone in the city and burn it. Burn everything. Save only the silver, gold, copper, and iron, and give them to the treasury of Jehovah's tent. To the 2 spies, Joshua says, Go into the house of Rahab, and bring her and all her family out. Rahab and her family are saved, just as the spies had promised her. Alright. Chapter 47. A thief in Israel. Look at what this man is wearing in his tent. A beautiful robe and a gold bar and some pieces of silver. He has taken them from the city of Jericho. But what does but what should have been done but what should have been done with things in Jericho? Do you remember? They were supposed to have destroyed they were supposed to have been destroyed, and the gold and silver were to have been given to the treasury of Jehovah's tabernacle. So these people had disobeyed God. They have stolen what belongs to God. The man's name is Achan. Is Achan. Is Achan. And those with him are part of his family. Let's see what happens. After Achan steals these things, Joshua sends out some men to fight against the city of Ai, but they are beaten in battle. Some are killed and the rest run away. Joshua is very sad. He lies down with his face to the ground and prays to Jehovah. Why have you let this happen to us? Wait, hold on. Let me just read that again, because I didn't process it. After Achan steals these things, Joshua sends out some men to fight against the city of Ai, but they are beaten in battle. Some are killed and the rest run away. Joshua is very sad. He lies down with his face to the ground and prays to Jehovah. Why have you let this happen to us? Jehovah answers, Get up. Israel has sinned. They have taken some of the things that were to be destroyed or to be given to Jehovah's tabernacle. They stole a beautiful robe. They stole a beautiful robe and kept it secret. I will not bless you until you destroy it, and the one who has taken these things. Jehovah says that he will show Joshua who the bad man is. So Joshua gathers all the people together, and Jehovah picks out the bad man, Achan. Achan says, I have sinned. I saw a beautiful robe and a bar of gold and silver pieces. I wanted them so much that I took them. You will find them buried inside my tent. When these things are found and brought to Joshua, he says to Achan, Why have you brought trouble on us? Now Jehovah will bring trouble on you. At that, all the people stone Achan and his family to death. Doesn't that show that we should never take things that do not belong to us? Afterward, Israel goes out to fight against Ai again. This time, Jehovah helps his people and they win the battle. No. Yeah, of course not. No one's gonna listen to that. Yeah. Afterward, Israel goes out to fight against Ai again. This time, Jehovah helps his people and they win the battle. Alright. Chapter 48. Chapter 48. The wise Gibeonites. Many of the cities of Canaan now had, chapter 48. The wise Gibeonites. Many of the cities in Canaan now get ready to fight against Israel. They think that they can win, but the people in the nearby city of Gibeon do not think so. They believe that God is helping the Israelites, and they do not want to fight against God. So, do you know what the Gibeonites do? These, they decide to make it look as if they live somewhere very far away. They put some of the men put on ragged clothes and torn out sandals. They load their donkeys with worn out sacks and take some old dry bread. Then they go to Joshua and say, "We have come from a very distant land because we heard about your great God, Jehovah. We heard all the things that he did for you in Egypt. So our leaders told us to get some food ready for a trip and to go and say to you, we are your servants. Promise that you will not make war with us. You can see that our clothes are worn out and dry from the long trip, and that your bread has become very you can see that our clothes are worn out from the long trip, and that our bread has become old and dry." Joshua and the other leaders believe the Gibeonites, so they make a promise not to fight against them. But 3 days later, they learn that the Gibeonites really live nearby. Roll deception. They rolled a nat 1. Yeah, but 3 days later, they learned that the Gibeonites really lived nearby. "Why did you tell us that you came from a distant land?" Joshua asked them. The Gibeonites answered, "We did so because we were told that your God Jehovah had promised to give all this land of Canaan to you, so we were afraid that you would kill us." But the Israelites kept their promise, and they did not kill the Gibeonites. Instead, they made them their servants. The king of Jerusalem is angry because the Gibeonites had made peace with Israel. So he says to 4 other kings, "Come and help me fight Gibeon." And that is what these 5 kings do. Were the Gibeonites wise to make peace with Israel, which now causes these kings to come and fight against them? We will see. Alright, chapter 49. The sun stands still. Look at Joshua. He is saying, "Sun, stand still." And the sun does stand still. It stays right there in the middle of the sky for a whole day. Jehovah makes it happen. But let's see why Jehovah wants the sun to keep shining. When the 5 bad kings in the land of Canaan start to fight against the Gibeonites send a man to ask Joshua for help. "Come to us quickly," he says. "Save us. All the kings in the hill country have come up to fight against your servants." Right away, Joshua and all his fighting men go. All night long they march. When they come to Gibeon, the soldiers of the 5 kings are afraid and begin to run away. Then Jehovah makes large hailstones fall from the sky, and more soldiers die from being hit by the hailstones than are killed by Joshua's fighting men. Joshua can see that soon the sun will go down. It will be dark, and many of the soldiers of the 5 bad kings will get away. So that is why Joshua prays to Jehovah and then says, "God, sun, stand still." And when the sun keeps shining, the Israelites are able to finish winning the battle. And when the sun keeps shining, the Israelites are able to finish the winning. Let me say that again. Jesus. And when the sun keeps shining, the Israelites are able to finish winning the fight. There are many more bad kings in Canaan who hate God's people. It takes Joshua and his army about 6 years to defeat 31 kings in the land. When this is done, Joshua sees to it that the land of Canaan is divided out to those tribes, yet needing territory. Many years pass, and Joshua finally dies at 110 years of age. But as long as he and his friends are alive, The people obey Jehovah, but when these good men die, the people start doing bad things and sorry, I just got a thing that I'll look at later. But I will look at it later. Um, as long as he and his friends are alive, the people obey Jehovah. But when these good men die, the people start doing bad things and get into trouble. This is when they really need God's help. Alright, chapter 50. Almost there, almost there. Chapter 50. Two brave women. When the Israelites get into trouble, they cry out to Jehovah. Jehovah answers them by giving brave leaders. Hold on. When the Israelites get into trouble, they cry out to Jehovah. Jehovah answers them by giving brave leaders to help them. The Bible. Hold on just a second. I need to get some water. And I also need to put on chapstick. Okay, I am better. Anyway. Yeah, I'll look at that later. Okay, yeah, when the Israelites get into trouble, they cry out to Jehovah. Jehovah answers them by giving brave leaders to help them. The Bible calls these leaders judges. Joshua was the first judge, and some of the judges after him were named Othniel, Ehud, and Shamgar. But two of the people who help Israel are women named Deborah and Jael. Deborah is a prophetess. Jehovah gives her information about the future, and she tells the people what Jehovah says. Deborah is also a judge. She sits under a certain palm tree in the hill country, and people come to her to get help with their problems. At this time, Jabin is the king of Canaan. He has 900 war chariots. His army is so strong that many of the Israelites have been forced to wait, hold on. At this time, Jabin is the king of Canaan. He has 900 war chariots. His army is so strong that many of the Israelites have been forced to become servants of Jabin. The chief of King Jabin's army is named Sisera. One day, Deborah sends for Judge Barak and tells him, Jehovah has said, take 10,000 men and lead them to Mount Tabor. There I will bring Sisera to you, and I will give you victory over him and his army. Barak tells Deborah, I will go if you two go with me. Deborah goes along, but she says to Barak, you won't get credit for the victory, because Jehovah will give Sisera into the hand of a woman. And this is what happens. Barak goes down from Mount Tabor to meet Sisera's soldiers. Suddenly, Jehovah causes a flood, and many of the enemy's soldiers are drowned. but Sisera gets off his chariot and runs away. After a while, Sisera comes to the tent of Jael. She invites him in and gives him some milk. This makes him sleepy, and soon he is fast asleep. Then Jael takes a tent pin and drives it into. Then Jael takes a tent pin and drives it into this bad man's head. Later, when Barak comes, she shows him the dead Sisera. So you can see that what Deborah said came true. Finally, King Jabin is killed, and the Israelites have peace again for a while. Yeah, I feel like this chapter was like all over the place. So Deborah was the prophetess that told Barak that she was going to bring Sisera to him and he was going to be victorious. And Deborah comes along with him, but Jehovah's just like, fuck no, and floods most of the people. But Sisera gets away. Sisera then comes to the tent of Jael, and Jael just fucking poisons him and kills him. And then yeah. Okay, never mind. Makes sense now. Alright. Chapter 51. I was under the impression that it was going to be until 53, but no, it's until 55. But that's okay. These are long chapters anyway. Like, I don't know. They just are. But we're almost done. Okay. So, chapter 51. Ruth and Naomi. In the Bible, you will look to find a book called Ruth. It is a story about a family that lived during the time when Israel had judges. Ruth is a young woman from the land of Moab. She does not belong to God's nation of Israel. But when Ruth learns about the true God Jehovah, she comes to love him very much. Naomi is an older woman who helped Ruth to learn about Jehovah. Naomi is an Israelite woman. She and her husband and 2 sons moved to the land of Moab at a time when there was little food to eat in Israel. Then one day, Naomi's husband died. Later, Naomi's sons married 2 Moabite girls named Ruth and Orpah. Hold on, I just need to get this straight. Okay. Yeah, later Naomi's sons married 2 Moabite girls named Ruth and Orpah. But after about 10 years, Naomi's 2 sons died. How sad Naomi and the 2 girls were. What would Naomi do now? One day, Naomi decided to make the long trip back home to her own people. Ruth and Orpah want to stay with her, so they go along too. But after they have traveled a while on the road, Naomi turns to the girls and says, "Go back home and stay with your mothers." Naomi kisses the girls goodbye. At that, they start to cry because they love Naomi very much. They say, "No, we will not go. We will go with you to your people." But Naomi answers, "You must go back, my daughters. It will be better for you at home." So Orpah stays on her, starts on her way home, but Ruth does not go. Naomi turns to her and says, "Orpah has left. You two go home with her." But Ruth answers, "Don't try to make me leave you. Let me go with you. Where you go, I will go. Where you live, I will live. Your people will be my people, and your God will be my God. Where you die, I will die, and that is where I will be buried." When Ruth says this, Naomi doesn't try anymore to make her go home. Finally, the two women get to Israel. Here they settle down to live. Ruth right away begins working in the fields because it is the time of gathering the barley. A man named Boaz lets her gather barley in his fields. Do you know who the mother of Boaz was? She was Rahab from the city of Jericho. One day, Boaz tells Ruth, "I have heard all about you and how kind you have been to Naomi. I know how you left your father and mother and your own country, and how you came to live among a people you had never known before. May Jehovah be good to you." Ruth answers, "You are very kind to me, sir. You have made me feel better by the nice way that you have spoken to me." Boaz likes Ruth very much, and it is not very long before they get married. How happy this makes Naomi. But Naomi is even happier with Ruth and Boaz But Naomi is even happier when Ruth and Boaz have their first son, named Obed. Later, Obed becomes the grandfather of David, whom we will learn a lot later on. All right. Chapter 52. Gideon and his 300 men. Do you see what is happening here? These are all fighting men of Israel. These are all fighting men of Israel. The men bending down are taking a drink. Judge Gideon is the man standing close to them. He is watching how they drink the water. Look closely at the different ways in which the men are drinking. Some are putting their face right down to the water. But one is taking the water up to his hands so that he can watch what is going on around him. This is important, for Jehovah told Gideon to choose only the men who keep watch while they drink. The rest, God said, should be sent home. Let's see why. The Israelites are in a lot of trouble again. The reason is that they have not obeyed Jehovah. The people of Midian have gained power. The people of Midian have gained power over them and are hurting them. Well, I mean, they're drinking from a river. Oh, well, yeah, I know, like putting their face up to it, yeah, I wouldn't do that. That's just not wise. Yeah. The people of Midian have gained power over them and are hurting them. So the Israelites cry to Jehovah for help, and Jehovah listens to their cries. Jehovah tells Gideon to get an army. So Gideon gathers together 32,000 fighting men. And there is an army, but there's an army of 135,000 men against Israel. And yet Jehovah tells Gideon, you have too many in And yet Jehovah tells Gideon, you have too many men. Why did Jehovah say that? It is because if Israel won the war, they might think that they won by themselves. They might think that they didn't need Jehovah's help to win. So Jehovah says to Gideon, tell all the men who are afraid to go back home. Tell all the men who are afraid to go back home. When Gideon does this, 22,000 of his fighting men go home. That leaves him only with 10,000 men to fight against all those 135,000 soldiers. But listen, Jehovah says, you still have too many men. So he tells Gideon to have the men drink at the stream and then to send home all the people who put their face down to the water to drink. I will give you the victory with the 300 men who kept watching while they drank. Now, I feel like that's not fair, because at that point, he doesn't need to bring his men, did you suddenly not give me credit? Stop. Only I get credit, too, boy. Basically, that's what he's saying. But at that point, but this is the God we're talking about. This is Jehovah himself. He just wants credit for everything. I still don't think they would have made it with the 32,000 men that they originally had against the 135,000 men that they had. I think Jehovah was kind of thinking a little weird. I was in a different headspace, because I don't think 32,000 would win against 135,000. I think that's giving them a bit too much credit. And he could have still helped them. That'll show them that's all you. Yeah, right? Fucking God just wants credit where it's not deserved. Anyway, I will give you the victory with the 300 men who kept watching while they drank, Jehovah promises. The time comes for the fight. Gideon puts his 300 men in 3 groups. He gives to each man a horn and a jar with a torch inside. When it is about midnight, they all gather around the camp of enemy soldiers. Then, at the same time, they all blow their horns and break their jaws and shout, Jehovah's sword and Gideon's. When the enemy soldiers wake up, they are confused and afraid. They all begin to run, and the Israelites win the battle. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. You're just gonna scare away the enemy? I don't know, dude. Okay. Chapter 53. Yes, we're almost done with this book. Yeah, chapter 53. Jephthah. I'm gonna look up this one too, because I don't want to get it wrong. So I know I'm gonna be saying it a lot. Pronunciation. we go. Jeff. Jeff. Yeah, that's just how it's pronounced then. Alright. Jeff Fats. Jeff Fats. Jeff. I'm gonna have to look at it again because it is like a tongue twister. It's Jeff Fath. Fath. That's how it's spelled. I hate it. Jetpacks. No, I hate this. I hate this name. I hate it so much. No, not Facebook. I don't want to go to Facebook. Pronunciation. Give me a better way to pronounce it. Ugh, it's all like computerized. Like, give me a real person saying it. Jephthah? Jephthah. Jephthah. Okay, I'm just gonna say Jephthah. Okay, that sounds easier. Jephthah. Okay. Chapter 53. Jephthah's Promise. Have you ever made a promise and later found out it was hard to keep it? The man in this picture did, and that is why he is so sad. The man is a brave judge of Israel named Jephthah. Jephthah lives at a time when the Israelites are no longer worshiping Jehovah. They are again doing what is bad. So Jehovah lets the people of Ammon hurt them. This makes the Israelites cry out to Jehovah. We have sinned against you. Please save us. The people are sorry for the bad things that they have done. They show that they are sorry by worshiping Jehovah again. And so, again, Jehovah helps them. Jephthah is chosen by the people to fight against the bad Ammonites. Jephthah wants very much for Jehovah to help him in the fight. So he promises Jehovah, if you will give me a victory over the Ammonites, the first person that comes out of my house to meet me. Jephthah wants very much for Jehovah to help him in the fight. So he promises Jehovah, if you give me a victory over the Ammonites, the first person that comes out of my house to meet me when I return from the victory, I will give to you. Jehovah listens to Jephthah's promise, and he helps him win the victory. When Jephthah returns home, do you know who the first one is to come out to meet him? My God. It is his daughter, who is his only daughter. "Oh, my daughter," Jephthah cries. "What sadness you are bringing me! But I have made a promise to Jehovah, and I cannot take it back." When Jephthah's daughter learns of his promise, at first she is sad too, for it means she will have to leave her father and friends. But she will spend the rest of her life serving Jehovah at his tabernacle in Shiloh. So she tells her father, "If you have made a promise to Jehovah, you must keep it." So Jephthah's daughter goes to Shiloh, and she spends the rest of her life serving Jehovah at his tabernacle. 4 years out of every year, the women of Israel go to visit. Yeah, 4 days out of every year, the women of Israel go to visit her there, and they have a happy time together. The people love Jephthah's daughter because she is such a good servant of Jehovah. Alright, on to the last two stories. This one should be pretty familiar at least. So, chapter 54, The Strongest Man. Do you know the name of the strongest man who ever lived? He is a judge named Samson. It is Jehovah who gives Samson his strength. Even before Samson is born, Jehovah tells his mother, "Soon you will have a son. He will take a lead in saving Israel from the Philistines." The Philistines are bad people who live in Canaan. They have many fighting men, and they really hurt the Israelites. Once, when Samson is on his way to where the Philistines live, a big lion comes roaring out to meet him. But Samson kills the lion with only his bare hands. He also kills hundreds of bad Philistines. Later, Samson falls in love with a woman named Delilah. The Philistine leaders promise that each of them will give Delilah 1,100 pieces of silver if she tells him what makes Samson so strong. Delilah wants all that money. She is not a true friend of Samson or God's people. So she keeps asking Samson what it is that makes him so strong. Finally, Delilah gets Samson to tell her the secret of his strength. "My hair has never been cut," he says. "From the time that I was born, God chose me to be a special servant of his From the time that I was born, God chose me to be a special servant of his called a Nazarite. If my hair was cut, I would lose my strength." Well, when Delilah learns of this, she has Samson go to sleep on her lap. When she calls a man to come in and cut his hair, then she calls a man to come in and cut his hair. When Samson wakes up, he has lost his strength. The Philistines come in and capture him. They put both his eyes. They put out. I don't think they put out. I think put out is a wrong word for this. So I'm just gonna say they pull out both of his eyes and they make him their slave. It's basically the same thing. Yeah, I think they either like put out your eye is a phrase. Oh, is it a phrase? I did not know that. It just sounded like put out. Like put was a wrong word. I've never heard that before. Oh, okay. Never mind. I'll read it again. The Philistines then come in and capture him. They put out both his eyes and make him their slave. One day, the Philistines have a big party to worship their god Dagon. and on and they bring Samson out of prison to make fun of him. In the meantime, Samson's hair has grown again. Samson says to the boy who is leading him by the hand, "Let me touch the pillars that hold the buildings up." Then Samson prays to Jehovah for strength and takes hold of the pillars. He cries out, "Let me die with the Philistines." And there are 3,000 Philistines at the party. And when Samson bends himself against the pillars, the buildings fall down and kill all these bad people. I think along with Samson himself, I think he dies. Alright, and last chapter, thank goodness, is chapter 55. A little boy serves God. Isn't this a good-looking little boy? His name is Samuel, and the man with his hand on Samuel's head is Israel's highest priest, Eli. Wait, hold on. His name is Samuel, and the man with his hand on Samuel's head is Israel's high priest, Eli. That is Samuel's father, Elkanah, and his mother, Hannah. That is Samuel's father, Elkanah, and his mother, Hannah, who are bringing Samuel to Eli. Samuel is only about 4 or 5 years old, but he will live here at Jehovah's tabernacle with Eli and the other priests. Why would Elkanah and Hannah give someone so young as Samuel to serve Jehovah at the tabernacle? Let's see. It was just a few years before this that Hannah was very sad. The reason is that she could not have a baby, and she wanted one very much. Very, very much. So one day, when Hannah was visiting Jehovah's tabernacle, she prayed, "O Jehovah, do not forget me. If you give me a son, I promise that I will give him to you so he can serve you all his life." Jehovah answered Hannah's prayer, and months later she gave birth to Samuel. Hannah loved her little boy, and she began teaching him about Jehovah when he was still very little. She told her husband, as soon as Samuel is old enough, so he does not need to be nursed anymore, I will take him to the tabernacle to serve Jehovah there." This is what we see Hannah and Elkanah doing in the picture. And because Samuel has been taught so well by his parents, he is glad to be able to serve Jehovah here at Jehovah's tent. Each year, Hannah and Elkanah come to worship at a special tent and to visit their little boy. And each year, Hannah brings a new sleeveless coat that she made for Samuel. As the years go by, Samuel keeps on serving at Jehovah's tabernacle, and both Jehovah and the people like him. But high priest Eli's son, Hophni and Phinehas, are no good. They do many bad things and get others to disobey Jehovah too. Eli should remove them from being priests, but he does not. Young Samuel does not let any of the bad things going on at the tabernacle cause him to stop serving Jehovah. But because so few people really love Jehovah, it has been a long time since Jehovah has spoken to any human. When Samuel grows a little older, this is what happens. Samuel is asleep at the tabernacle when a voice wakes him up. He answers, "Here I am," and he gets up and runs to Eli and says, "You called me, and I am here." But Eli answers, "I did not call you. Go back to bed." So Samuel goes back to bed. Then there's a second Samuel. So Samuel gets up and runs to Eli. "You called me, and here I am," he says. But Eli answers, "I did not call you, my son. Lie down again." So Samuel returns to bed. "Samuel," the voice calls the third time, So Samuel runs to Eli. Here I am, for you must have called me this time, he says. Eli knows now that it must be Jehovah who is calling. So he tells Samuel, Go lie down once more, and if he calls you again, you must say, Speak, Jehovah, for your servant is listening. This is what Samuel does when Jehovah calls again. Jehovah then tells Samuel that he's going to punish Eli and his sons. Later, let me say that again. This is what Samuel says when Jehovah calls again. Jehovah then tells Samuel that he's going to punish Eli and his sons. Later, Hophni and Phinehas die in battle with the Philistines, and when Eli hears what has happened, he falls over, breaks his neck, and dies too. So Jehovah's words have come true. So Jehovah's word comes true. Samuel grows up and becomes the last judge of Israel. When he grows old, the old man, Samuel grows up and becomes the last judge of Israel. When he grows old, the people ask him, Choose a king to rule over us. Samuel does not want to do this, because really Jehovah is their king. But Jehovah tells him to listen to the people. And then that's the end of the part 3. And then part 4 will go into Israel's first king to captivity in Babylon. Okay, thank you so much for listening. Goodbye.